Morning, sir. Just watch your step as you're coming up into the witness box. You can put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Once you get comfortable, can you state your full name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Lieutenant Christopher Brady, B-R-A-D-Y.
Prosecutor?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Lieutenant. Where are you employed?
Ocean Township Police Department.
How long have you been employed there?
Over 20 years I've been employed.
And you're currently a lieutenant?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you take us through the trajectory of your law enforcement career at the Ocean Township Police Department?
Sure. I was hired in 2005 as a dispatcher at Ocean Township. In 2008, I was hired as a patrolman, went to the police academy. I remained in the patrol division until 2017, where I moved to the detective bureau. I was there for 4 years, then promoted to sergeant, went back out to the patrol division, and then I became a lieutenant in September of 2025.
So in November of 2018, were you a detective with the Ocean Township Police Department?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I should back up. Did you work anywhere prior to Ocean Township?
No.
As a detective, did you have any on-call responsibilities back in 2018?
Yes.
And what does it mean to be on-call as a detective in the Ocean Township Police Department?
In Ocean Township, we don't have a detective on duty 24 hours a day. So usually overnights and weekends, a detective's on call, so if one's needed, he is called from home and responds in.
So currently you're in the patrol division as a lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay. What's the difference between the patrol division and the detective bureau?
The patrol division is the people you see in the uniform and the police cars. They respond to all the calls for service and handle those immediate first aid calls and things of that nature. The detective responds after the fact for open investigations, follows leads, gathers evidence, interviews suspects, and things like that.
Now, back in 2018, did the detectives wear body-worn cameras?
They did not.
Patrol officers did, right?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention back to the morning of Tuesday, November 20th of 2018. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
Were you the primary on-call detective for the Ocean Township Police Department?
Yes, I was.
What, if any, notifications did you receive at about 5:45 a.m.?
I received a call from the on-duty sergeant, Sergeant Malone, in reference to a suspicious fire at 27 Tilton Drive in Ocean.
And what did you do as a result of that call?
I responded to work and headed right up to the scene.
And what was your role in responding to the scene as the detective?
Process the scene, photograph, speak to witnesses, investigate the incident.
Can you tell us how that call came in?
Approximately 4:59 a.m., the Monmouth County radio room received an alarm at 27 Tilton Drive, basement fire alarm. Shortly after that, at 5:01 a.m., the radio room again received a 911 call from Caneiro in reference to a smoke condition in the house. The radio room then notifies Ocean Township Dispatch, we then dispatch our officers up to the scene shortly thereafter.
And what time did you arrive on scene?
6:15, 6:20, somewhere in there.
Can you describe the conditions of the scene when you arrived?
It was a very active scene. There was fire trucks, multiple police vehicles all over the street, in the yards and things like that.
What other agencies were already on scene prior to you arriving?
We had officers from Ocean Township Police, the Oakhurst Fire Department, Wanabassa Fire Department, and Neptune Fire Department, as well as the Oakhurst Fire Marshal.
Now, while you're on scene that morning, did you have the opportunity to make any observations of 27 Tilton Drive?
Yes, I made observations throughout the day.
Were there any cars parked in the driveway?
Yes, there was 3 vehicles in the driveway. There was a white Porsche Macan that was parked up in the driveway. It was a two-car garage in the driveway. There was a white Porsche Macan in front of the garage on the left, a Porsche Carrera next to that vehicle, and a Jeep Wrangler about halfway down the driveway.
What, if any, observations did you make of any video surveillance cameras?
I noted next to the front door of the residence, there was a Ring doorbell camera. There was also surveillance cameras mounted at the corners of the garage of the house. It appeared that they were facing the front of the residence, the driveway. There's cameras mounted above the garage facing the rear of the house. And I also observed another camera under the soffit of the garage facing the back of the house.
Now, when you get on scene as the detective, were you briefed on what had transpired up to that point?
Yes.
Who did you speak to first?
Sergeant Malone and Patrolman Redmond.
What, if any, evidence did you learn had already been collected from that scene?
They had taken a DVR out of the garage and kept that as evidence.
And did you make any observations of the homeowners while you were on scene?
I saw them in another white Porsche that was parked in the street approximately 2 houses down to the south of their residence.
Did you learn their names at some point?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was Paul Caneiro and his wife Susan Caneiro and their adult daughters Marissa and Caitlin Caneiro.
Did you see any patrol officers on scene aside from Sergeant Malone and Redmond?
Yes,
Did you recall an Officer Marino being on scene?
yes.
What was he doing when you arrived?
He was safeguarding an area up on the top of the driveway by the garage door on the left.
And when you arrived, did you see any damage to the house?
Yes, I mainly saw a lot of smoke damage at the top of the house and the front of it in the beginning, and eventually I did see some damage in the back.
Who was Craig Flanagan?
The Oakhurst Fire Marshal.
Was he on scene when you arrived?
Yes,
Did you have a conversation with him?
I did.
As a result of your conversation with him, what, if anything, did you request Ocean Dispatch to do?
I requested them to notify the on-call detective from the Montecito Prosecutor's Office to contact me.
And why did you do that?
He had notified the Monmouth County Fire Marshal's Office, and as policy procedure, those notifications go hand in hand.
Did those officers or any officers from that unit ever get back to you?
Yes.
Who was that?
I received a call from Detective Sergeant Maglioso. I advised him of the situation that I had at that point. I was not requesting any assistance from his office. I told him that the Fire Marshal's Office was coming. If they determined that we needed more assistance, I would contact them again.
At any point in time, did you speak with the homeowners while you were on scene?
Yes, I did.
Did you speak with them once or more than once?
More than once.
Okay, and when was the first time that you spoke with them?
It was approximately 7 a.m.
Where were you when you initially spoke with them at that time?
They were on the front porch of their neighbor's house next door.
What was your purpose in speaking with them?
Just to find out what happened that morning.
Which of the homeowners did you speak to first?
Susan Caneiro.
Okay, and without telling us any hearsay or anything like that, what was the topic of what you had asked her?
Just received her account of the morning's events.
Okay, who did you speak to after that?
Paul Caneiro.
Okay, and how did that conversation begin?
I just asked him what occurred this morning. That
What
morning.
was his response?
He had told me that he was asleep in his bedroom. He heard an alarm going off inside the house. He awoke to smoke coming out of the vents. He woke up and began to wake up his family and tell them to get out of the house. As his family was exiting the house, he said that he had turned around and went back inside and removed a car out of the driveway, out of the garage, for whatever reason. And then as he backed out of the garage, he closed the garage door. When he said that he closed the garage door, he said he didn't know if any more air was going to be a problem.
So you didn't know if any more air was going to be a problem?
Yes.
What was your understanding of which garage door he had referred to?
I believe it was the garage door on the right, as the garage door on the left had two vehicles parked in front of it.
Okay. What, if any, questions did you ask him after that?
I asked him if he was injured at all.
And what was his response?
Said that he had possibly hit his hand on the doorknob, as a family was exiting the residence.
Did you offer first aid?
I did.
And what was his response to that?
He declined.
Did you yourself observe that injury?
I did.
Okay, and specifically tell us what you observed.
I observed just a red mark, an abrasion on his top of his left hand.
Actually, I should ask you, were any photos taken of that injury to his hand?
Later on that day, I did.
Okay, and we'll come to that. Who did you speak to after you spoke to Mr. Caneiro at that point?
At that point, I believe the fire marshal might have arrived on scene.
Okay. Did any other family members of the defendants arrive on scene that morning?
Yes, his daughters were present also. I just spoke to them.
Okay. And anyone else that he introduced you to?
Eventually, I was introduced to his brother, Corey Caneiro.
Okay. And specifically, how did that come about?
We were just standing on the sidewalk, I believe we were at the time, in the vicinity of the residence. The two men were speaking. I was nearby, and then he introduced me. This is my brother.
Do you recall about what time that was?
Not specifically, no.
What, if anything, did you see Corey give to the defendant?
I gave him some money.
Do you know where Corey went that day after that on scene?
Not at that time, I did not.
Okay. At some point, did he leave the scene and then
Yes.
return?
Possibly. I don't recall specifically.
You indicated that you had made some initial observations of the house and then some observations later on.
Yes.
What were the observations of the house that you made later on?
So once the sun came up, I was able to get a more accurate view of the house. In the rear of the house is where the heavy body of fire had caused the damage. If you're looking at the house from the backyard, the bottom left corner of the house was badly burned. The fire went up back of the house and then made its way along the right, to the right in the soffit area along the roof. It appeared that the fire had entered the attic. I observed broken window to the basement at the bottom left corner that was near the gas main, and there was a broken window on the first floor as well.
What, if any, observations did you make of the driveway area?
The driveway had white aluminum doors. The garage door on the left had burning markings on the bottom left corner of it, and there was a gas can next to the garage door that was knocked over, and there was a charred object at the time. I did not know what it was. It was just a black ball of char in the driveway in front of the garage door.
Was there a shed on the property?
There was a shed on the property.
When did you learn about that?
Patrolman Redmond advised me of the shed.
Okay, and what, if any, observations did you make of the shed?
I went back to the shed and opened the door. There was storage. And on the floor of the shed, I observed 3 gas cans. There was 2 5-gallon gas cans and 1 2-gallon gas can that looked very similar to the gas can that was in the driveway. In between the 2-gallon gas can and the 5 was an empty void, as if another can could have been placed there.
What, if any, other observations did you make on the shed or near the shed?
I did not observe any other ones. I was advised from Patrolman Redmond that when he was on scene, there was a shoe print on a stone in front of the shed, if your feet were wet, but that had dried by the time I had gotten there.
Okay. Do you know if efforts had been made to preserve that print?
Yes. Sergeant Malone of Redmond advised they covered it with a container to try and preserve it as best they could, but it had dried.
Now, at about 7:05 a.m., who ultimately arrived on scene?
Deputy Fire Marshal Christopher Tiberian from the Monmouth County Fire Marshal's Office,
And what was his role?
to investigate the cause and origin of the fire.
And what did you see him do there?
He conducted his investigation and processed the scene for his investigation.
Now, while he was conducting his investigation, was your attention drawn to any other areas of the scene?
Yes, he had pointed out some burning or charring on the hood of the Porsche Macan that was in the driveway. And he additionally showed me the broken window of the basement window well, had glass on the inside and the outside of it.
Specifically, where was the Porsche Macan located in the driveway if you're facing the garage?
If you're facing the garage, it's on the farthest left of the residence, of the driveway.
At some point, did the deputy fire marshal's investigation conclude?
Eventually, yes.
Who did you contact at the time of the conclusion of that investigation?
I recontacted Detective Sergeant Maglioso and advised him that we were requesting additional assistance from the prosecutor's office, major crimes, and forensics unit.
Why did you do that?
The fire marshal advised that he believed the fire was intentionally set.
Okay, and who from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office Crime Scene Forensic Unit ultimately responded?
Detective Nicholas Catalona.
Do you remember about what time he responded?
It was approximately 8:13, I believe.
Generally speaking, what did he do?
His job is to collect evidence and process the scene.
Did anyone from the Major Crimes Unit of the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office arrive?
Yes, Detective Brian Weisbrod.
Okay, and do you know what his role was?
His role is to assist me in investigating the incident.
Do you recall about when he arrived?
Shortly after Detective Catalona.
Right. So just to be clear, you're the lead detective on this from the Ocean Township Police Department?
Yes.
Okay, and then Detective Weisbrot is the lead from the Major Crimes Unit of the Prosecutor's Office?
Correct.
And then is Detective Catalona the lead from the Crime Scene Unit of the Prosecutor's Office?
Yes.
What, if any, requests did the Caneiro family make at about that time?
The homeowners had requested that they had medicine inside the residence that they wanted to get. The Oakhurst Fire Department assisted in obtaining that medication for them.
Let me ask you, approximately how long were you on scene for?
Approximately 5.5 hours.
What, if any, observations did you make of the defendant and the family at that time in those 5 hours that you were on scene?
They had gone from inside their vehicle to outside the vehicle, moving around the sidewalk, talking to neighbors, just outside.
At any point, did you check in on the 2 daughters again?
I did.
Okay, and specifically, who did you make contact with?
With Caitlin and Marissa, I believe I spoke to both of them again.
Did you learn if they had gone anywhere that morning?
They advised I did want to go get some breakfast, and they did leave and get breakfast and come back.
Did you see who they went with?
I do not know that.
Okay. Did you speak to any neighbors while you were on scene?
I did.
Who was that?
Jonathan Harrington.
Where did he live?
He lived directly to the west of the Caneiro residence, right across the street from Tilton Drive.
I want to draw your attention now ahead a little bit to about 9:50 a.m. Did you speak to anyone at that point in time?
I did.
Who did you speak to?
The defendant.
Was anyone with you when you spoke to the defendant?
Detective Weisbrod.
And where was he located?
I believe he was in his vehicle at that time, or standing on the sidewalk.
Do you remember what vehicle he had?
They were sitting in the Porsche Cayenne that was in the street.
What color is that?
White.
Okay. When you say it was in the street, did you see where that vehicle was in the street?
Yeah, it was parked 2 houses to the south
To the south of their house?
of their house, correct.
So if you're facing the house, south is...
To the right.
Now, you previously spoken to the family, right, at about 7?
Yes.
And now you're speaking to the defendant at about 9:50 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. What was the purpose in speaking with him at that point?
The fire marshal indicated he wanted to check the Porsche Macan that had burn markings on it for fire extension. We needed to speak to the defendant to obtain consent to look into the Macan.
Okay. And specifically, why did you want to look into the Macan at that point?
Check for extension of the fire, see if it had damaged the rest of the vehicle.
When you spoke to the defendant, did you ask him for anything?
He asked for consent.
Okay. And when you asked him for consent, was there any paperwork that went along with that?
Yes, there's a standard consent to search form that was provided by Detective Weisbrod.
Okay. And when Detective Weisbrot provided him with that form, did he read it to him?
Yes, he read it to him verbatim.
Okay. And then what, if anything, happened as he was reading it to him?
Each line of the form, you're asked if you understand it. If you understand it, you initial the line.
And was consent ultimately provided?
Yes, it was.
Did you also sign that form?
I did.
Showing counsel what's been marked as S93. Lieutenant, I'm showing you what's been marked as S93. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
This is the consent to search form.
Okay. Whose name is on the top?
Paul Caneiro.
And who wrote that?
Paul Caneiro.
He wrote that? Okay.
believe.
And then you see there's an A and a B section there?
Yes.
Okay, what does B say?
This is a motor vehicle which is specifically described as a Porsche Macan bearing New Jersey Reg DCJ 3105, white in color.
Okay, and is B circled?
Yes.
Okay, and who was that written by?
It might have been written by Detective Weisbrod. I'm not positive. I don't recall that.
Okay, and then do you see in the middle where it says, I have been advised of and understand the following?
Yes.
Do you see that? In number 1, it says, I have the right to refuse to allow police to conduct the search?
Yes.
Okay, whose initials are there?
PC, Paul Caneiro.
Okay, did you see him write his initials there?
Yes.
Okay, did you see him write all of anything he wrote on this page? You saw him?
Yes.
Right, okay. What does number 2 say?
I have the right to revoke my consent to search at any time and may stop the search at any time.
Okay, and whose initials are there?
PC, Paul Caneiro.
And how about number 3?
I have the right to be present while the search is conducted. I waive/do not waive this right.
Okay, and what is circled there?
I waive.
Okay. Did he waive it or not?
He did not.
Okay. Why is I waive circled?
I believe it was a mistake.
Okay. Ultimately, was that Macan searched?
Yes.
Okay. And when it was searched, was the defendant allowed to be present?
Yes, he was.
Okay. What does the next paragraph down say?
I authorize the police officers and retain any items of evidential value which they consider pertinent to their investigation. I understand that I'll be given a receipt for anything which is taken as evidence by the police.
Whose initials are there?
PC, Paul Caneiro.
And then what is the last sentence?
I've given this permission voluntarily of my own free will without coercion, fear, or threat.
And is it initialed?
Yes, ma'am.
By who?
PC, Paul Caneiro.
Is there a signature at the bottom?
Mr. Caneiro's signature is there.
And the date?
11/20/18 at 9:50 a.m.
And the time? 9:50, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, and then the other 2 signatures on there with the date and time, whose signatures are those?
Detective Weisbrot and my own.
Thank you. When did Fire Marshal Marshal Tiberian conduct that investigation or the search of that Macan?
Not long after we obtained consent,
Where did that occur?
in the driveway.
Okay. And prior to the inspection, was the defendant advised that that was going to take place?
Yes.
And what did he do?
He unlocked the vehicle for us.
Okay, so he was present during that investigation. Okay, and you say he unlocked the vehicle?
Yes.
Do you know how he unlocked it?
With the key fob,
How long did that inspection take place?
roughly 10 to 15 minutes.
During that inspection, did you have further opportunities to observe the Macan?
Yes, I was able to take a look into the engine compartment. It was in pristine conditions, clean, didn't look like the fire had touched the engine at all.
Now, what else was taking place in that same general area at the time that that inspection of the Macan was happening?
Other officers and detectives were taking a look at the garage door that was in front of the McCann.
Were you present for that as well?
Yes, it's all right there in the same vicinity.
Okay. What, if anything, did the defendant say during that time?
Said that door is making me nervous.
Did you know what he was referring to?
Not specifically, I assumed the door that we were looking at had burn markings on it.
Specifically, though, what door were you looking at?
The garage door on the left, in front of the McCann.
Okay. Was anything happening with the garage door at that point?
The detectives were opening and closing it.
Okay. And then at what point did the defendant say that door is making me nervous?
After we were closing it, I believe, I'm not 100% certain.
And was that comment made in response to any questions or anything like that?
No.
Now, did you ask the defendant consent for anything else that morning?
Yes.
And what was that?
That was the DVR that had been retrieved from the residence.
Okay, so specifically you asked for his consent to view the DVR?
Yes.
Okay. When did that take place?
Later on at the police station.
No, I'm sorry. I don't mean the actual
Oh,
search.
when did we
you
ask?
the request for consent?
It was after 11 o'clock, I believe.
Okay, so it was after the consent from the Macan?
Yes.
Okay. Why were you asking for consent to search the DVR, to watch the DVR?
Well, we were investigating the fires as a crime at that point in time. It was the defendant's property, and we believe that the surveillance footage may have captured who lit the house on fire, or how the fire started.
What was the defendant's response when you asked him for consent to view the DVR system?
He had said that he was having some issues with the system. There was some type of firewall or connectivity issue. It's gone online, offline in the recent past. He wasn't even sure if it was working at the time.
And did he ultimately consent to the search of the DVR?
He did.
And was there any paperwork that went along with that?
A consent to search form.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for Special Counsel as S-94. Showing you what's been marked as S-94. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
The consent to search form for the DVR.
All right. And was this filled out in essentially the same way as the other consent form from Macan?
Yes.
Okay. And it was read, the lines on here were read to the defendant verbatim?
Yes.
Okay. And then he placed his markings on here?
Correct.
Okay. And are his initials on here as well?
Yes.
Okay. And is this the same exact form as the one that he filled out for the Macan? Okay. Is the defendant's signature on here?
Yes.
Is there a date?
11/20/18.
Okay. And is there a time?
11:37 a.m.
And who are the other two signatures?
Detective Weisbrod and myself. My own.
Who ultimately viewed the DVR system?
Detective Weisbrod, Detective Valenti, and myself
Where was that done?
at Ocean Township Police Department.
And why was it done there?
The power had been shut down to the residence due to the fire. We had to bring it to the police station to power it up.
And around what time did the inspection of the DVR at headquarters take place?
After 12 o'clock noon.
So the consent form was signed at about 11:37 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. How long were you and the investigative team on scene for?
I was on scene for approximately 5.5 hours, but officers remained on location to secure the scene for time after we had left. I had left.
About what time were you leaving the scene?
About 11:50 in the morning.
Now, as you were leaving, were any fire suppression efforts still taking place?
It was more so overhaul and clean up from the fire department.
Were different members of the investigative team on scene doing different things?
Yes.
Were members from the Ocean Township Police Department on scene doing any type of investigative work?
Yes.
What was that?
It was Detective Sergeant Martin, Detective Orbach, and Detective Melody were assisting me. They were canvassing the area, the neighbors for surveillance footage, witness statements, anything that we could find that would help us.
Now, just prior to leaving the scene, did you have occasion to speak with the defendant and his family again?
Yes.
Okay, and specifically, when you spoke with them, where were they?
They were in their vehicle.
The Cayenne?
The Cayenne, yes.
Okay, and where were they parked? In the same spot or somewhere else?
I believe they had moved their vehicle up a little bit closer to the scene.
And when you spoke with them, were you by yourself or with somebody else?
With Detective Weisbrot.
Okay, and what specifically did you and Detective Weisbrot, or what did you say to them?
I asked them if we were requesting them to come down to the police station to give a statement for us.
Okay, was there a response?
Not initially, but yes, they did come down.
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying is when you asked them that, if they would come to headquarters, like, what was their initial response to you?
Their initial response was that they wanted to go somewhere to be able to clean up, get change of clothes.
Okay. Ultimately, however, did they go straight to headquarters?
They did.
Okay, how did they get there?
They drove their car.
Did one of the daughters come separately?
Yes, Marissa was actually not on scene. She was taking the family's dogs to a friend's house for safety.
So the Caneiro family takes the Cayenne to headquarters?
Yes.
And then how did you get to headquarters?
I drove my vehicle behind them.
And did Detective Weisbrot also respond to headquarters?
Yes, he did.
Right. When you and Detective Weisbrot left the scene, you indicated other officers remained on scene?
Yes.
Okay, and do you recall when that scene was released?
The scene was released completely. It was on November 24th.
Okay, and what does it mean for a scene to be released?
We are done with our investigation. The yellow crime scene tape is removed, and the residents can have access to their home again.
Okay, so from the time you left the scene until the time it was released, do you know whether there was the scene was secured?
There was a police officer from Ocean Township there 24 hours a day.
Okay, and is that what it means for the scene to be
Yes.
secured, essentially? Approximately what time did you and Detective Weisbrot arrive to headquarters?
Just afternoon,
When did the Caneiro family arrive?
at the same time.
Where did they go when they initially arrived to headquarters?
I had them have a seat in the front lobby of the police station.
Okay, now did any other detectives from the prosecutor's office, and you may have said it, but aside from Detective Weisbrot at the time, who else responded to Ocean Township Police Department?
Detective Valenti had responded, and Detective Catalona had also come to the police station.
What was Detective Valente's purpose in responding to headquarters?
He was going to assist us in being able to view the DVR footage.
Okay, and how did he do that specifically? How did he assist you?
It was just the DVR is all we had, so he was able to take a computer monitor and hook that up so we could watch the images.
Okay, I don't want you to tell me anything about what you saw, but just, were you able to watch any surveillance footage?
Yes.
Okay. And did there come a time, or I should say during the time that you were finishing up reviewing those DVR recordings, what if any notifications did you receive?
We had became aware of a fire at 15 Willowbrook Road in Colts Neck,
And at what time did you become aware of that?
but before 1 p.m.
And how were you notified of that?
The members of the prosecutor's office had gotten some type of notification to their phone of an additional fire in the county.
As a result of that notification, what if any inquiries did you make at that time?
So Ocean Township and Colts Neck and numerous other police departments in Monmouth County use the same CAD systems, computer-aided dispatch, where our dispatchers enter the call for service into the computer. The officers write that report in that same computer system. The Spillman is the name of the system. I utilized Spillman. I was able to view the incident in Colts Neck and started reading in real time the narrative entries of that incident.
What if anything of note did you observe about that entry?
There was a structure fire involved, and there was a narrative entry of a deceased body on the front yard of the residence.
Did you learn who the homeowner of that residence was at 15 Willowbrook?
There was a narrative entry that the homeowner's name was Keith Caneiro.
And did that cause you any concern at that point?
Yes, it's the same last name as the house I had just investigated a fire at.
So as a result of that, of learning that, did you do anything to confirm whether or not there was any relation?
Yes, utilizing Spillman again, I started looking into other calls for service and looking into things, and I was able to figure out that they were brothers.
Once you figured that out, what, if anything, did you do with respect to the Caneiro family who had been in the lobby?
I went up to the lobby and I asked them to come down to the detective bureau for their safety.
Were they made aware at that point of the fire at 15 Willowbrook?
Yes, they were already aware. They had received a text message from a family friend advising them of the fire.
So you say you brought them down to the detective bureau?
Yes.
Okay. And where specifically in the detective bureau did they go?
It's in the bottom floor, and we placed them in the conference room of the detective bureau.
And again, you indicated your concern was for safety purposes.
Yes,
Back to me. Did you-
The front lobby is open to the public. Anyone can walk in. We had no idea what was happening, so we felt like it was safer for them to be with us in the detective bureau.
And was the family allowed to keep their phones on them and stay together?
Yes.
Both? Okay. While the family was in the conference room, what, if any, requests were made?
They had made a request to check on some family members, check on their welfare.
Okay, specifically of who?
We checked on the parents of the defendant.
Ultimately, when you checked on them, did you learn anything about their well-being?
Yes, they were fine. They live in New York. The NYPD went to their house, and they were in fine condition.
What, if any, comments did the defendant make to you with regard to you checking on the parents?
He asked to make sure that they did not know about the fire.
What other family members did the Ocean Township Police Department reach out to at about that time?
We were able to make contact with the other brother, Corey Caneiro, and his wife, Elisa.
Now, had you seen Corey at any point earlier that day?
I did.
Was he the other brother that was
It
on
was
scene?
the other brother that was on scene,
You
yes.
saw him giving money to the defendant?
Correct.
What town did he live in?
Fairhaven.
Okay. Were Jennifer Caneiro's parents contacted?
Yes, we were able to contact them, and we advised them to go to the Colts Neck Police Department.
You indicated that the family had kept their phones on them, their cell phones, while they were in the conference room. What, if
Sorry,
any-
yes.
That's okay. What, if any, notifications did they receive at that point that you learned of?
Because they had their phones on, they started seeing media updates, and they had full access to everything that was out there at that time.
Okay. And did you learn anything specific that they had been made aware of through their phones?
It had been learned that there were now 4 fatalities as a result of the fire in Colts Neck.
And how specifically, how was it that you knew they were aware of that?
There was a lot of emotional outbursts and crying. They were demanding answers of us that we couldn't provide them at that time.
What was the defendant's demeanor like?
He was very quiet. He did not say a lot. He did look upset at times, but he was more or less very quiet.
What, if any, statements did the defendant make during that time?
He advised me that his brother, Keith, had sent him some text messages during the overnight hours.
Okay. Did he specifically say anything about the number of text messages that he received from Keith?
He had received 4 text messages, he stated.
And what, if any, concerns about those text messages did the defendant express to you?
He had wished he had heard them.
Is that what he said?
Yes.
Was that the first time that the defendant told you about those text messages?
Yes.
Eventually, did you take any formal statements from Susan Caneiro,
Yes.
Caitlin Caneiro,
Yes.
and Marissa Caneiro?
Yes.
Do you remember about what time that was?
They're late afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock.
So what was happening with regard to, just in a very general sense, what was happening with regard to your investigation of 27 Willowbrook?
27 Tilden.
I'm sorry, 27 Tillen, while 15 Willowbrook, while that was pending. Was anything happening with your investigation?
There was still a fire marshal's on scene conducting his investigation. We were kind of on pause for a little bit to try and figure out what exactly was happening to the family. So we weren't hastily making any investigative steps at that point.
Right, so were you essentially in like a holding pattern?
Yes.
And the family and the defendant were still at headquarters at that point?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, let me ask you this first. What further investigative steps, if any, were taken during that time?
Detectives were able to obtain surveillance footage from 2 addresses on Tilton Drive.
Do you remember the addresses?
One was 30 Tilton Drive, I believe, and the other actually is at Green Grove Road, and it was 308 Green Grove Road, which is the corner of Green Grove and Tilton Drive.
So the residence 30 Tilton Drive, do you know where that was located in relation to the defendant's residence?
That residence is located to the west of their house.
Okay. And how about 308 Green Grove Road? Where was that located?
furthermore west at the end of the Tilton Drive, the T intersection.
Now, while you were at headquarters that evening, did you take any photographs of the defendant's left hand?
I did.
And again, why did you take those?
He had indicated an injury that occurred
And what specifically, about what time did you take those photographs?
between 7:30 and 8 o'clock at night.
Detective, I'm going to show you, and I'll first show counsel, that the mark is S1B, and it's going to be slides 1 through 5. I'm showing counsel.
Is there any objection to putting them on the screen?
Thank you, Judge. Detective, what are we looking at here? Who are we looking at?
That is a photograph of the defendant.
Okay, and specifically, I'm going to draw your attention to his left hand there. Okay, and is that what you had referred to earlier when you indicated you saw like some sort of injury?
Yes.
Okay. Can we move to the next slide, please? Maybe slide 4, I believe. Okay, and what are we looking at here?
It's just a more close-up picture of his left hand and the injury.
Did you get to make observations? I think you said you did, of the injury earlier while you were at the scene?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any difference in the way it looked from the time you were at the scene until these pictures were taken?
The swelling had increased by the time I took this picture.
And now we can move on to the last slide, 5. And what are we looking at here?
Picture of the defendant's left hand.
It's just closer up?
Closer version of it, yes.
Thank you. Were those pictures, did they fairly and accurately depict how the defendant's hand and how he looked at the time that you took them?
Yes.
What happens at about 12:15 a.m. now on that next day, 11/21/18?
The defendant was charged with 1 count of arson.
Was anything done with the defendant's clothes that he was wearing?
They were secured as evidence by Detective Kettle.
And was anything done with his cell phone?
That was also secured as evidence.
Do you recall what kind of a cell phone it was?
He had an iPhone 10 or X, whatever they call it.
Now, that same night, what, if anything, was done with the Porsche Cayenne, the car that the family had drove to headquarters in?
That vehicle was also seized as evidence. It was secured in the security of the police barn parking lot, locked with the key fob, and we placed a club on the steering wheel.
Okay. And when you say it was secured, where specifically was it secured?
Right outside our door, there is gates all around where our police department vehicles are parked, so no one can enter and exit.
And you indicated that it was locked?
Yes.
And what happened to the key fob?
The key fob we kept. We used the key fob to lock the door.
Okay. Now, what time did Susan and her daughter stay on scene until?
It was later in the evening.
Do you
8,
know?
10 o'clock.
Okay. And do you know ultimately did they leave the not scene but headquarters?
Yes, they arranged for their own transportation away from the police station.
What, if any, further involvement did you have in this investigation?
Over time, we continue to interview witnesses, review body-worn camera footage from the officers that were first on scene, and continue investigating any lead that we might find.
I have no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to take a 2-minute break. If you can just go into the jury room just for 2 minutes.
All rise for executive session.
Okay, everybody can be seated. We can start with the cross-examination.
Good morning.
More?
Now you're a lieutenant, correct?
Yes.
At the time you were a detective?
Yes.
Just to close the loop here, one of the last things that you discussed, prosecutors, was the injury on the hand, correct?
Correct.
And did you take those photos?
Yes.
In your report, you do indicate that you observed the injury, right?
Yes.
And that it did not resemble a burn injury, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, just to back up, when did you first arrive on scene?
It's approximately 6:15, 6:20.
Okay. So a little more than an hour after the initial call, maybe an hour 15 after the initial call. Fair?
There.
Okay. And by the time you got there, there were multiple officers on scene,
Yes.
and obviously first responders and the fire personnel and all of those people.
Yes.
You also indicated that Fire Marshal Flanagan was on scene.
Yes.
Okay. And that when you first got there, you spoke to Sergeant Malone,
Yes.
and you had conversations with him and Officer Redman, and the purpose of the conversation was that they were essentially debriefing you on what they had discovered so far.
Correct.
And the things that they had discovered, we've heard many times, but just to recap, the area, we're going to focus mostly on the area of the garage, right? Okay? So they told you about the small fire area by the garage and the gas can, correct?
Yes.
And they told you about the burn marks on the car,
Yes.
and they showed them to you.
Yes.
And also, there, like you said, there was like a char pile or something near
Correct.
on the ground. And when you observed those things, like all of the other officers, your suspicions were raised, right?
Yes.
And Sergeant Malone had also created like a parameter with the crime scene tape to kind of make sure that the area was secured.
Yes.
Okay. And that's because potentially the gas can and the char pile and the vehicle with the burn mark, that was evidence.
Potential evidence, yes.
Yeah. So, when you're on scene with these other officers, like it's pretty clear that there's some sort of investigation into this fire occurring, correct?
Yes.
And given the evidence that was discovered so far, by the way, I just want to, when you got there at 6:15-ish, it was still dark out?
Yes.
Okay. And was it dark for a little while after that too?
Yes.
November of 2018? Tell me if I'm wrong. Would you agree with me the sun rose at approximately 7 a.m.-ish?
That's what I believe, yes.
Okay, so from the time that the call occurred to approximately 7 a.m., it was pretty dark out.
Yes.
And when you got there as you also mentioned, because we've heard that the Oakhurst Fire Department was there, Wanamasa, but you also mentioned Neptune as well. There was someone from Neptune.
Yes, they sent an engine.
Okay, so there was actually 3 total fire departments there.
Yes.
And when you got there, you did an inspection of the area? Like walked around the house and looked around and made observations?
Yes.
Okay. One of the observations you made is you describe in your report sort of like the layout of the home and the property.
Yes.
And you note that there's, you make a note in your report of all of the different doors to the house.
Yes.
Okay. So you were taking note of that.
Yes.
And you noted that there's actually 3 rear doors.
Correct.
And there was a door to the mudroom.
What I believed was the mudroom, yes.
Okay. A sliding door to the kitchen.
Yes.
And French doors, which led to the dining room area.
Correct.
These are all on the first floor in the back.
Yes.
And in those, the only one of those doors that was brought to your attention that was unlocked was the back doors, the French doors.
Correct.
And you were made aware that no one who had responded to the scene, no fire personnel, no police officers, no one had unlocked that door.
I was advised that none of the fire department personnel had touched that door.
Okay. And you also learned that the front door had been left open when the family had left the house.
I believe so.
And you mentioned that in addition to what you noticed by the garage area, you also saw you were shown were you shown where the footprint would have been that they tried to save?
Near the shed, yes.
Okay. And so there was a footprint near the shed that was originally wet and they tried to cover it?
Yes.
Okay. And then when they lifted up the bucket that they put on top of it, it was gone.
It had dried.
It had dried. But let me actually back up a little more. So you're a detective from Ocean Township, right?
Yes.
And you were the lead detective on this case.
Yes.
Now, there's actually 3 lead detectives. When you combine the entire investigation, would you agree with me that you're the lead detective from Ocean Township? Then there's a lead detective, Zerillo, from Colts Neck, and then there's Detective Petrozello from the prosecutor's office. And the 3 of you were the lead detectives on this case because you each had your own institution.
They were all, Colsneck had their own lead investigators, the prosecutor's office had their own investigators as well, yes.
And the 3 of you worked together because you learned this, was connected.
I worked more closely with Detective Weisbrot because he was assigned to the Tilton Drive fire, and yes, it was eventually a joint investigation at some point.
Okay. Was that some point on the 20th when you started learning about what happened at 15 Willowbrook, the fire, at around noon?
Around noon, I would say no.
Okay. Was it later that day?
I would assume it was probably much later that day.
Okay, same day though.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a fire at 27 Tilton, right?
Yes.
You become involved with that.
Yes.
You're involved. The fire's at 5 a.m., but your involvement's at 6:15ish,
Yes.
beginning then. Then later at around noon, you learn about the fire at 15 Willowbrook.
After 12, but yes. Closer to 1 probably.
Okay. 1-ish?
1-ish.
All right. And you learn that both homeowners have the last name Caneiro.
Yes.
And so, and then you realize that they are brothers.
Yes.
And while you were on scene at 27 Tilton, you testified that there were detectives from the prosecutor's office that responded.
To Tilton Drive?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think you mentioned it was Detective Catalona, right?
Yes.
He was the forensic detective who responded to take photographs.
Yes.
And you also testified that Detective Weisbrot responded, and he was from Major Crimes.
Correct.
And that was at around 8:13 in the morning.
Yes.
So within 2 hours of you being there, and within 3 hours of the entire incident, we have the detectives on scene from the prosecutor's office.
Yes.
So you started working with detectives from the prosecutor's office early that day.
Yes.
Okay.
For the Tilton Drive fire.
Right. And then later, you eventually began working with Detective Zerillo and other detectives in the prosecutor's office.
There was information sharing, yes.
This was ultimately a joint investigation.
Ultimately.
When we're saying ultimately, are we talking about the 20th to 21st, the 20th, like that week?
Yes. It was an ongoing investigation for many days.
And as the lead detective in Ocean Township, what you're indicating is like you were responsible for the investigation for 27 Tilton. Is that fair?
Yes.
And so you were directing other officers on what things to do to help investigate.
Yes.
And when the officers did those things, you would review them.
Correct.
And, for example, if officers who responded to the scene, if they wrote reports, you would review them
Yes.
to see what they had to say about what happened.
Yes.
You also participated in witness interviews,
Yes.
like
Statements.
statements, like formal statements that were typed.
Yes.
And there were also interviews that you did not personally participate in, but you reviewed them.
Yes.
And when I say reviewed them, I mean the typed statement, you would read it.
I read them.
And you also reviewed photographs that other investigators took?
Of the scene on Tilton Drive?
Yes.
Yes.
And specifically, I'll say like Catalona, right? He processed the scene, he took photographs, you reviewed them.
Not all of them, but I did review some, yes.
Okay. And was there a reason you only reviewed some? Like, did he just share some with you? Or?
Some I was present for when he was taking pictures of, but ultimately, no, I did not review every photograph he took. Did not review them all.
Okay. But how did you choose which photographs you reviewed and which ones you didn't?
Necessarily. No, if I specifically chose, I don't think they were all forwarded to me.
Okay.
I don't recall which photographs I did see and which photographs I did not.
So, if I'm understanding you correctly, Detective Catalona sent you photographs, and whatever he sent you, you would review. You're not sure if that included all of them?
I don't know if he specifically sent them to me directly, no. Or if I was working along with Detective Weisbrot, and he had the photographs and we reviewed them. Those specifics, I cannot give you a specific answer on.
Okay. What about the body-worn camera footage from your officers? You did review that footage, right?
Yes.
So the officers that were on scene, they had body-worn cameras, it's a recording, it would show everything that they experienced while they were there, and you reviewed it later so that you would have knowledge as the lead detective of what happened.
Yes.
And you yourself, obviously, you wrote a report.
Yes.
And that documented not only what you personally did in the investigation, but also what you directed others to do.
Encapsulated everything that occurred for my investigation.
Now, when you were turning back to your observations around 27 Tilton, you walked around the perimeter of the home, right?
Yes.
And we talked about how you noticed the doors, right?
The rear doors?
Yes.
Yes.
The French doors were unlocked. And, yes.
Yes.
And also you noticed a broken, multiple broken windows.
Yes.
And one of those broken windows was the basement well window.
Correct.
Right? Which ultimately we learned is where the fire started.
In that vicinity, yes.
And that particular window, you learned there was like glass, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well.
Correct.
And so you learned that the window had essentially been broken, like from the outside inward.
I learned that glass had fallen inwards.
One of the things you also, again, I think the boot marks, right, that had dried.
Right.
But when you had the opportunity to review, I think it was Officer Wankowski's body-worn camera, you were actually able to see him when he first approached the stones, and when he saw the burn mark, correct?
I believe it was Officer Redmond that was at the shed. And I do not recall if the wet footprint is visible on the body-worn camera or not.
Can we? We'll come back to it. And ultimately, though, we did not have an opportunity to like measure that footprint or anything like that.
I did not know.
And we don't have any photographs of it.
I was unable to take one.
And You mentioned that you, at some point, saw the girls leave, Marissa and Katie?
I didn't physically witness them drive away, but yes, they had left and came back.
You had knowledge that they left
They
and
left.
came
They
back.
told me they wanted to get some breakfast.
And you said you didn't know with whom.
No.
And then you also mentioned how later you learned that Marissa had left again.
Yes.
Okay. And so that's when she had to meet all of you at the police station.
Correct.
And when you, to the best of your knowledge though, Mr. Paul Caneiro and his wife Susan, they remained on scene the entire time.
Yes.
Their car was there, right?
Yes.
And they never attempted to leave.
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Caneiro and his wife at some point asked for access to the medications that were in the house.
Yes.
They never asked if it was okay to leave. They never tried to leave, nothing like that.
Not that I recall.
And every conversation you had with Mr. Caneiro, he answered your questions.
Yes.
He never refused to speak to you. And there were 2 occasions when you asked him for consent to search something.
Yes.
The first time was consent to search the vehicle,
Porsche McCann.
the Porsche Macan in the driveway,
Yes.
right? And the prosecutor read the consent form. Sure, just a second. And you read it out loud, right?
Today or at the scene?
Today.
Today I read it out loud, yes.
To the jury, you read it.
Yes,
to them.
ma'am.
So we know that on the form, you specifically tell Mr. Caneiro, or Mr. Caneiro is specifically informed, that he has the right to refuse.
Yes.
And not only that, but at any point in time, if he changes his mind, he can revoke his consent and say, never mind, I changed my mind.
Yes.
Right? And you go through this formality with him, and he consents.
Yes.
He doesn't say to you, no, I don't feel comfortable with that, right?
No.
He doesn't say, no, I don't want you to search my car. And he doesn't say to you, let me think about it and I'll let you know.
No.
And same thing with later on with the DVR system. You ask for consent to search the DVR video.
Yes.
And that was the surveillance system that had been taken from his garage, right?
Correct.
And once again, you inform him he has the right to refuse.
Yes.
Meaning, if he did not want you to search at that time, he had the opportunity to express that to you.
Yes.
But he said, no, it's fine, I consent. Now with the vehicle, with the DVR, he waives his right to be present, meaning he's saying to you, you can go search it without me there, that's fine.
Correct.
That's what that means. And with the vehicle, it has, I waive Sir Hold, but you testified that was a mistake on the form,
Correct.
and that he was present.
Yes.
Was he present in the driveway with you?
Yes.
Like, inside the crime scene area?
We had brought him up within 10 to 15 feet of the vehicle, I estimate. We were in the driveway.
When you say 10 to 15 feet, are you talking about like in front of the vehicle, next to the vehicle?
Walked up the driveway to where the vehicle is. We were in proximity of the vehicle for him to be present for the search.
Okay. So I'm going to approach you with what's been marked as D1-43, -44, -46, -47, -48, and -49. Those are all one dash. Showing you a photo of,
Can we just be heard?
do you
for-
recognize?
Ms. Maslin, can we just be heard for 1 second?
Sure.
Sidebar?
Yes, I'm sorry.
So I'm going to move on to another topic for now, and we'll come back to that later. Now, you testified to several conversations that you had with Mr. Caneiro on scene,
Yes.
right? And none of those conversations were recorded.
Only unless a patrol officer was saying in the vicinity of me would have been recorded. I was not wearing a body-worn camera.
Right. When you reviewed the body-worn camera in this case, did you see any instances where any of the conversations were recorded?
I don't specifically recall.
Well, the ones that you testified today were not recorded because we didn't see them, right?
Yes.
And at the time, though, you were aware that there were officers with body-worn cameras, right?
Yes.
You're an experienced officer and detective.
Yes.
But you didn't, for any of these conversations that you're having with Mr. Caneiro, you never said to a patrol officer, hey, can you come over, stand here, so that the conversations are in fact recorded.
No, I did not.
And obviously, the thing about a recording is, if we had it, we would be able to watch it and see if what you're testifying to years later matches what actually occurred.
Yes.
But without that, we lose the opportunity to do that. Right?
Yes.
One of the things that you had other officers do was canvass the scene.
Yes.
And canvass the scene means having officers go around essentially the neighborhood area or surrounding area.
Yes.
And they're looking for people to talk to who might have relevant information.
Yep.
And they're looking to see if people's homes in the area have security cameras.
Yes.
Because if they have security cameras, you might be able to capture relevant evidence in the area.
Yes.
And in fact, that's what you had some officers do, specifically Detective Sergeant Martin, Detective Melody, and Detective Orbach. Do you recall directing them to start canvassing the scene?
Yes.
And you testified in direct ultimately that they were able to get surveillance videos from a few different houses, right?
Yes.
30 Tilton, right?
Yes.
And 308 Green Grove,
Yes.
and ultimately 19 Oxford, right?
Ultimately, yes.
I'm going to show what's already been published to the jury previously as D-1-100. Sir, this is a map of the 27 Tilton area. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, and we can see that 27 Tilton is identified right on the map.
Correct.
And 30 Tilton would be, can you see it on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. And it's here?
Yes.
And so it's just a few houses down from 27 Tilton. It's like Yeah, a few houses down
To the west, yes.
to the west. And I don't know, are you able to see on this map where the video from Green Grove would have been?
Yes.
And can you maybe just circle it?
Do we have the stylus over there?
Just touch it.
Yeah, you can just circle it. Does it say 3082 right on the house?
It's a lot of focus, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says. So.
Yeah, okay.
And can you just, for completion, also circle 30 Tilton? And then 19 Oxford, where would that be? Can you see that on the map?
Yes. You'll be able to just focus it a little bit.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure this is it. Yeah, that's a 9.
Okay. So those are the 3 houses that you were able to obtain surveillance video from.
Correct.
And, sure, yes.
If we could print this as D1-100. Do we have a .1 already, Anna?
Yes.
I think we do. We'll just confirm the point, whatever it is, and we'll make sure that it gets labeled that way. We'll confirm it. I think it could be .3, but I'm not sure.
And now next I'm going to show you what's been marked as D-1-101. Oh, there's an undo button at the bottom. You can press it and hold it down.
On the bottom?
Now these don't have house numbers, okay? So I'm not gonna hold you to it. You don't have to circle the individual houses, but can you circle just the general area where you got the surveillance videos? Just one big,
One big.
yeah, just to show the area. What it encompassed. Okay. We can print that too.
We'll print that as 101, and I know we have a .1 on that also. It could be .2 or .3. We'll figure it out.
So, as we can see from this map, though, there are 2 intersections where Tilton intersects with Green Grove Road, correct?
Yes.
And that means there's 2 ways in and 2 ways out.
Yes.
And all of these little boxes that we see, would you agree with me that those represent houses?
Yes.
Okay. And so there was no effort to get any video from any of these houses on this side.
We were not able to locate any, so it was not documented if we had any.
So there's no documentation that you tried. Is there?
My report, no, I do not know about the other detectives if they specifically documented which houses they hit or not, or they approached.
Okay, well, you did review the officer's reports, right?
Yes, I don't recall.
You don't recall. Okay, so you're saying you're not sure whether it was never attempted for these houses to find surveillance video in this area versus whether you tried?
No, I know that we attempted. I only know that what we were able to obtain. It's not documented in my report that we attempted 17 other homes, for instance, on Tilton Drive, but that's generally what we do when we're canvassing for witnesses and surveillance.
Well, didn't you document the people that were spoken to and they were asked the addresses? We tried this one, they had it and they didn't.
I wrote that in my report.
Right. In the reports, doesn't it indicate when someone didn't have surveillance video?
I don't recall writing in my report that I did not obtain surveillance from an address or not.
Or in any report?
Again, I have not. I do not recall the other officers' reports of whether or not it says that specifically or not.
Okay. Well, you would at least agree with me that we don't have any video from this area here, correct?
Correct.
And do you think you think it's possible that there were attempts made, but just none of these houses had surveillance video?
Objection.
Sustained. Word possibility. He told you what he knows. You can ask it differently.
Did you ever direct any officer during the course of your investigation? Did you ever say, hey, looks like we have really good video from this side of the street, but we don't have any from here. Can we see if we can get some? Did you ever do that?
Yes, as I stated, we generally canvassed the entire area.
Right, but what I'm saying is after you reviewed the videos that you did have, right, you knew we have a video from 30 Tilton, we have a video from 38 Green Grove, and we got a video from 19 Oxford, but it's all on one side of the street, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and after you reviewed those, which was in a short period of time, it was within a week, right?
We were
Approximately.
canvassing for those videos the day of, on November 20th.
Okay. So after the 20th, when you learned you got those 3 videos, did you ever send any officers or detectives back to the area and say, hey, maybe some people weren't home, maybe you missed a house, can you document each house and let me know whether or not there are surveillance videos in that area so we can view that area, that side of Tilton Drive?
No, I don't recall us making a second attempt.
If you had made an attempt, wouldn't it be in your very detailed 50-page report?
We didn't make a second attempt.
Okay, so you did not make any second attempt. So if I understand correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, on the day of, on the 20th, you're saying you sent officers out to see what they could find.
Correct.
After they found it, at no point did you then send anyone back out to say, let's see if we can get anything from the other side. You agree with me on that?
I'm saying that I do not recall us making second attempts to find further video surveillance from the rest of Tilton Drive.
Okay. And as a result, in this case, we do not know what, if anything, occurred on this entire area of Tilton Drive intersecting with Green Grove.
Objection.
Sustained. Based on that question. He's answered you that they looked at everywhere else. In the beginning, they couldn't find anything else. They only found it on the one side. He's saying they never went back at any other time. Am I incorrect with what I just said?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
If you have a different question, go ahead. But he doesn't know anything else. That's what he said.
Right, so I was saying, just to be clear, we don't have any video. As a result, there's no video that we have in this case file from this side.
Not to my knowledge, no.
And are you familiar with this area?
Yes.
So you can't see it fully on the map here, but there's like a shopping center, isn't there? Close by with businesses?
Yes.
Did you ever send any officers to the businesses to see if maybe they had a camera angle of that intersection?
Which intersection are you referring to?
The intersection of 27 Tilton and Green Grove here.
That plaza would not capture that intersection.
How do you know that?
I'm a police officer in Ocean Township. These addresses are in Ocean Township. I know where the streets are, and the entrance is to Tilton Falls Plaza
So,
in relation to Tilton Drive.
okay, so you're saying,
It's too far. It doesn't
Sorry?
capture. It's too far. It doesn't capture the intersection.
okay. Do you know that based on going there and checking to see in this case?
As I stated, I've been a police officer in Ocean Township for a very long time. I know that that intersection is not captured from that Tilton Falls Plaza.
Okay, what about this intersection here? Because we can see this is a dead end, right? This is a cul-de-sac.
Yes, ma'am, in Tilton Falls.
What about this intersection here? Which would be if you made that left, if you came out of Tilton Drive at this intersection and you made a left onto Green Grove, you would hit this road right here. You would hit this intersection here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What about there?
No, that's the back end of the plaza. You can see Tilton Falls Center written on the bottom of the map.
So you have personal knowledge that there's no businesses there with cameras in the back at all that might have captured that area?
I'm saying from my experience, the distance is too far. There would be no surveillance cameras to capture. There's woods and trees and
Okay. I want to return to just a discussion we were having earlier this morning about the search of Mr. Caneiro's vehicle in the driveway, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
And during that conversation that you and I had, you acknowledged that, or you discussed the consent form, correct?
Correct.
And again, on the consent form, it says, there's a provision on it where you can say, Mr. Caneiro can indicate whether he waives or does not waive his right to be present for the search, correct?
Correct.
The form says he waived it, correct?
I believe so, yes.
You believe so? Do you want to see that? I'm approaching with the witness with what is S93. So you saw this earlier this morning, correct?
Yes.
And you remember that when you read it out loud to the jury, you explained that it says, I have the right to be present while the search is conducted. I waive or do not waive this right, and waive is circled.
Correct.
Okay. And you indicated to the jurors that that was a mistake of some sort.
Yes.
And then when I asked you, okay, so like where did the search take place? You said it was in the driveway, right?
Yes.
Right where the car was parked.
Yes.
And that's within the crime scene tape area.
Yes.
And within the crime scene tape area, you had brought in Mr. Caneiro within the area in the driveway to view the search.
Yes.
You said he was like 10 feet away from the vehicle, maybe 10, 15?
Approximately.
Okay. I'm approaching the witness with the same exhibits that I cited earlier. It's D1-43 through D1-49. So, did you want me to show? So, Officer, or Detective, Lieutenant, do you recognize this? What's happening in this photo?
Yes.
Okay, what's happening in that photo?
This photographs of the two vehicles in the driveway.
And it appears the hood is up
The hood is up.
of
correct.
the one vehicle,
Of the McCann, yes.
of the McCann, and that's the vehicle that Mr. Caneiro consented be searched, correct?
Correct.
And specifically at the time that you asked for consent to search, you wanted to look under the hood of the vehicle, correct?
The fire marshal was the one conducting the main search. He was looking for extension of the fire.
Okay, and do you see the fire marshal in that photo? Maybe it's hard to tell, but there's some uniformed
There's
firemen.
multiple firemen with fire gear on.
Okay.
I'm not sure if his back is turned. I'm not positive.
Okay, well, the hood is up, and it appears that this is the search of the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And I'm going to show you another one. It's almost exactly the same,
Yes.
just a little bit of a different angle, correct? You can
Yes.
see a little more of the driveway. Now I'm going to show you one that's a little bit more zoomed in. This is,
Ms. Maslin, do you just mind just when you're doing each one, just to say the number on the back?
sure, the first photo that we looked at was 1-43, then 1-44, and now we're on 1-45.
Thank you.
Okay, does that also depict the search?
We're standing in the driveway. The hood is now closed in this picture.
The hood is now closed. And here is, do you recognize this gentleman?
It's Detective Catalona.
This is Detective Catalona, and he has a camera in his hand, correct?
Correct.
So he's photographing the search,
Yes.
and we do have photos. Have you seen the photos of the search?
Perhaps. It's been many years.
Here's another photograph where it appears he's photographing like the inside of the vehicle.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Maslin, could you say that?
Sorry, the one I just showed was 1-47, and the one before that was 1-46. They're in consecutive order.
Thank you.
And so finally, I'm going to show you 1-49, which is another angle of the search. In this photograph, we see the full driveway, correct?
Correct.
And you can see the taped off area.
Yes.
Okay, but what we don't see is Mr. Caneiro anywhere near the vehicle that's being searched.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to publish them. So just so the jury has the benefit of knowing what I was referencing, if I can have it on the... So, officer, this is D1-43. I showed you this photograph and you acknowledged that this is a photograph of the search. We can see that the hood to the vehicle of the McCann is up, correct?
Correct.
And you agreed that the reason why the hood is up is because the officers or the fire marshal specifically wanted to look under the hood of the car, right?
Yes.
And that's because this is where the burn marks on the hood were, and there were concerns about that, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then we have another photograph. This is D1-44, and this is, again, just another photo of the search. It's a very similar photo, correct?
Yes.
And then I'm going to show 1-45. This is a little bit more zoomed in. You can kind of just see some of the people that were involved. And this is Detective Catalona, correct?
Correct.
And just for the record, he's the individual with the beard who's closest to the vehicle with like a black attire and a reflective stripe. This is D1-46, and we can see the Detective Catalona now has a camera in his hand where it appears he's taking photographs of the search, correct?
Correct.
And then D1-47, we can see that Detective Catalona appears to be taking photos of inside of the vehicle because, again, this is the search that is taking place, correct?
Correct.
And then we have D1-49, and this is the entire driveway area where we can see the taped off crime scene area, correct?
Yes.
And we can see the same, they're far away, but we can see the same individuals in the photo, correct?
It appears so.
And we see the Jeep in the driveway, right?
Yes.
And what we don't see is anywhere 10 to 15 feet away, Mr. Caneiro in the driveway observing the search, correct?
Not in this image, no.
Now, another thing I wanted to just talk about was we talked earlier about how you had the opportunity, and you discussed it in your report, that you reviewed the body-worn camera footage in this case, right?
Yes.
And part of that included video of when Officer Redman, originally approached the shed and was observing the stones, right? And the potential footprints that were seen?
Correct.
Okay. Judge, there being no objection from the state, I'm just gonna show a 1-minute clip of some body-worn camera footage that this witness has indicated he's reviewed.
Okay, just tell us what the exhibit number is, if you don't mind.
Sorry, Judge. I believe it's 106.
S or D?
D106.
D106,
Yeah,
okay.
Body-worn camera of Officer Redmond, ending 3926.
Okay. We're in the audio's off? Okay. I'm just going to show the video for you to view, okay?
In the upper left corner.
Do you recognize that as the shed?
Yes.
He said he had a problem.
Or maybe, oh, you have to mute it. It's not muted. Okay. Just hold on. Just a few seconds. We just saw a lot of flashing lights, correct?
In the background?
Yes.
Yes.
And those are all of the responders who are here on scene at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just to orient ourselves. Okay, we can stop it around here. Thank you. So this was the video of Officer Redmond near the shed, correct?
Yes.
And what we can't see from the video, we see him shining his flashlight at the stones, correct?
Yes.
Where we later learned there was a footprint, right? But we can't see the actual footprint, right?
Correct.
So nothing related to this footprint was preserved, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we can put the on. With respect to the garage area where the DVR had been retrieved, did you observe that area? Did you go into the garage yourself?
I'm sure at some point I was in a garage, yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, you also had a conversation with Mr. Caneiro, correct?
Reference to,
Well, you had multiple conversations with him,
I did.
right? One of those conversations centered around his, I guess, his DVR system, and he mentioned something, or his cameras, and he mentioned something, I think you testified, you mentioned something about a firewall and connectivity issues or something.
that's correct.
Did I say
Yes.
that correctly? Okay. So did you at any point go into the garage and look at the area of where the DVR was retrieved from to see like what was going on in that location?
I believe at some point it was shown to me where the DVR was located.
Did you look at the wires and the plugs and whatever items were in there to see what potentially was connected to what?
I did not.
Did you take note of where the outlets were? Were they behind the refrigerator? Were they more accessible? Was there a power strip? Anything along those lines to try to understand better what Mr. Caneiro was indicating about a connectivity issue?
I did not.
And you didn't ask him in that moment either, correct?
No.
Okay. And is it fair to say that what you're writing down is probably not verbatim what he's saying to you? You're summarizing?
Correct. In my notes?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, in your report?
A report verbatim, not always, no.
Okay. And so we're talking about would you agree if we're talking about a technological issue? It's a little bit technical?
It sounded it.
Okay, it sounded it. And so the word you meant that you recall him saying is a firewall?
Correct.
And is that something that are you familiar with what a firewall is?
I couldn't define it for you, but I know it has to do with computers and things like that.
Computers and things like that, okay. And when you went into the garage, did you take note of certain access points that were located in different areas in the garage and also the house?
Access points to what? I don't recall.
Another question I have is, when you wanted to know whether or not the cameras were actually recording and whether there was any information on that system, why didn't you just ask Mr. Caneiro, hey, can you just pull it up on your phone? Do you have access? Can we see it? Can we check it? Let's see if it's working.
I think at that point in time, since the DVR had already been secured as evidence, we would just view it off of that.
Okay, but that took time, right?
You viewed it later, yes.
And didn't you want to know as soon as possible that, like, who could have set this fire since it was already a crime scene, and you wanted to know, like, maybe who did it?
We decided to view it off the DVR.
Okay. Now, you were there when Detective Catalona from the prosecutor's office, forensics, was processing the scene.
Yes.
Do you recall whether that French door that was unlocked, whether that door was processed?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay, you don't know if that was like...
I didn't necessarily follow him around, so I
Okay.
I don't know.
Being the lead detective on the case, do you now have any knowledge of that or no?
Not that I can recall.
Would that have... So, we talked about, other things you did on scene. Are you walking around, like, kind of like monitoring what your patrol officers are doing? I mean, like, what are you doing mostly on scene?
Depends on what was occurring at the time, but yes, take an overview of the situation, keeping an eye on the people involved, watching what the fire marshals are doing, so I can learn and see what they're figuring out. Yes, there's a lot to watch and listen.
And at one point, did you talk to any of the neighbors?
Yes,
Okay, and obviously without saying anything they said, do you recall which neighbors you talked to?
that day,
Yes.
spoke to Jonathan Harrington.
Okay, you spoke to Jonathan Harrington, and you then later got a formal statement from him, correct?
Yes,
You also, and you were there, you were present for that statement.
I believe so, yes.
Would seeing a copy of the statement refresh your recollection as to
Yes.
whether you were there?
Lieutenant, will you take your word for it if it's on the form?
I believe I was present for his statement.
Okay, he was there. Go ahead, you can ask your next question.
Okay, so you acknowledge that you were present for Jonathan Harrington's statement, correct?
Yes.
And you also acknowledge that there was another neighbor, Heather Capp. You were also present for her statement as well, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so again, not asking you to repeat anything that was said by either of them, but you know what they said.
yes,
Okay. And despite knowing what they said, those interviews took place on, so you spoke to Jonathan Harrington that day, right?
correct.
And then you took the formal interviews, the one of Jonathan Harrington was on November 27th, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
That's 7 days later?
Yes,
Well, I don't want to, if that's what it says. Do you want to look at it?
sure.
Okay. Do you have a statement to do? I'm going to approach with what has been marked as S82 for identification, and you recognize this, correct?
Yes,
This is Jonathan Harrington's statement.
yes,
It was taken at the Ocean Township Police Department.
Correct.
And it was taken on November 27th.
correct,
Right? And the one of Heather Capp was taken December 17th.
correct.
Okay. Now, knowing what they said, right? Was there any, would you disagree with me that it would have been maybe even more important to try to retrieve surveillance video from the other side of Tilton to find out what happened at 4:30 in the morning?
I stated before that we did attempt to obtain surveillance footage from the street that day.
Okay, that day, right? But coincidentally, the only videos we have are from one side, correct?
Yes,
And there's no documentation in your report that says we went to this house and yes or no they had it. We went to this house and yes or no they had it. We went to this house and yes or no they had it. We went to this house, they weren't home, we came back. There's nothing like that in your report, correct?
It's been gone over several times. Is there anything that you didn't say before about the cameras that you want to say now?
no, sir.
All right, we know the answers.
And just to be clear though, you did have other other officers assist you, correct?
Yes,
And one of those officers was Officer Melody,
correct.
or is it Detective
He was
Melody?
a detective, yes.
And Detective Melody, he wrote a report, correct?
believe he did, yes.
And in his report, the only house he references getting surveillance from is 19 Oxford.
I'm going to object to the hearsay.
Yeah, it is hearsay, sustained.
Based on your review, you know that the only house that he went to is 19 Oxford, based on his report.
Based off of his report, yes, I would assume so.
And the other two officers who assisted you, in addition to Detective Melody, you testified before, those were Martin and Orbach, correct?
Correct.
And neither of those officers, are they officers, detectives?
Martin was my supervisor. He was Sergeant Martin at the time,
Okay.
and it was Detective Warbuck.
Okay, and neither of them even have a report? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And on the 27th, you referenced several times that you referenced tell me if I'm wrong. You referenced several times the canvas for the surveillance video on the 20th, correct?
Yes.
You keep saying like that day, right?
Yes.
But in fact, you personally, with Detective Weisbrot, went back to the area 7 days later on November 27th, correct?
Perhaps. I'd have to double check my report. We did go back. I'm not specifically positive on the day that we went back.
Would seeing a copy of your report help refresh your
Yes.
recollection? Sir, you've seen your report before, correct?
Yes.
Now, just to give a little bit of context, in this case, your report, along with every other Ocean Township officer, with the exception of Bernhard, created a report that was encompassed in one large report, correct?
Yes. That's yes.
Okay, so this is like the whole thing. It's S72 is 72 pages actually, right?
Correct.
You've seen this?
Yes.
But I'm going to direct you to your report, which starts on page 38. Okay, and then I'm going to direct you recognize this as your report?
Yes.
You agree it's a report?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to direct your attention to page 57 of 72. And I'm going to ask that you read to yourself this last paragraph here. Just that last paragraph there. Okay. So on November 27th, you and Detective Weisbrot go to the area of 27 Tilton, correct?
Yes.
And specifically, you go to 29 Tilton, right?
Correct.
Which we know is like the next house over.
Yes.
And the reason for it is because it's part of your continuing canvass, right?
Yes.
And you memorialize that no one was home, so you left your business card, correct?
Yes.
And you went there after you spoke to Jonathan Harrington, correct? That same day.
Yes.
All right. So, again, despite that, you never make your way over to the other side of the street on the 27th and try to see if anyone has any videos on that entire side of the street.
Correct.
Susan Caneiro, and one daughter who was there to come back to the police station, correct?
Yes.
And the reason for that is because you wanted to take statements from them and
Yes.
see, what if any information they had. Now, they, as you testified to in direct, they asked for time to, I think you said, to like get changed and get cleaned up. I think that's what you said on direct.
More or less, yes.
Okay. But also it was they wanted to eat and shower and get clothes, because a couple of them had run out of the house without shoes that day. Do you recall that?
I do not recall who was wearing shoes and who was not wearing shoes.
Do you recall when you were reviewing the body-worn camera footage that you took note in your report that you observed Mr. Caneiro not wearing shoes?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so you at some point learned that at least Mr. Caneiro had no shoes.
Correct.
Now, at some point, are you aware that like neighbors offered them clothing or something like that?
I believe that's what occurred, yes.
Okay, so I just want to, I'm not trying to, there were, initially, Mr. Caneiro, to your knowledge, had no shoes, but ultimately, neighbors were trying to give clothes, right? And shoes to assist. Okay, but what they wanted to do was change into their clothes, right? Is what they were expressing to you, unless I'm wrong.
How do we know what they want? How does this witness know what they want to do? Sustained. No, that's not what they said. That's not specifically what they said. What did they tell you that they wanted to do?
Wanted a little bit of time to get cleaned up,
That's what they told you.
I believe, yes.
Okay. Just asking you not to put words into the detective's mouth.
Judge, can we approach?
No, not right now. Keep going. You can approach afterwards unless you feel you can't continue.
I just need a moment.
Take as much time as you need.
So I'm going to approach you with your report again, okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to take you to page 43 of 72. I'm going to direct your attention to this paragraph here, where you indicate the family requested some time to find new clothes and get cleaned up prior to responding to headquarters. Were those your words?
Yes.
Okay, so when I say new clothes, am I putting words in your mouth, or is that what you wrote?
That's what I wrote.
Okay, so to be clear, I'm not trying
Can
to
I have
trick
counsel up here, please?
Caneros wanted time before they went to the police station, correct?
Yes.
And what was your response to them?
I advised them that I would like them to come to the police station as quick as possible.
And did you also say that the reason why you wanted them to go as quick as possible is because as time goes on, their memory of events will not be as accurate?
Correct.
Okay. So you were concerned that if they took a little bit of time to get new clothes or cleaned up, that would affect their ability to somehow relate to you what had happened 7 hours earlier.
Could, yes.
Okay, so then, based on that, they agree, right?
Yes.
And they follow you, or you follow them, you tell me, to the police station, correct?
I believe I followed them.
Okay, so you follow them to the police station. This is the Ocean Township Police Department.
Yes.
And you testified that when you got there, you had them wait in the lobby.
Yes.
And did you tell them, like, this will be quick at first? Because you didn't know about the 15 Willowbrook situation yet?
I don't recall if I gave them a time frame.
Okay. So you had them sit in the lobby for some time. And then you testified that you brought them down to the basement?
More or less of the building, yes. It's just where the detective is located.
Okay. And that's specifically into a conference room, correct?
Yes.
And you put all 4 of the Caneros in there?
Yes.
And is there cell phone service in that conference room?
Yes.
There is, okay. And at some point, though, you separated the family members into interview rooms.
At some point, they were separate for their statements, yes.
Okay, but not one by one. You separated like 2 from one from another.
Yeah, I
Do
don't
you
recall
that?
which room everyone was in the detective. We used separate offices to take the statements.
And did you lock those rooms? Did you lock them in the rooms?
I don't believe so.
Now, at one point, the family members, you testified they were very upset. They were learning what was happening, right?
Yes.
And they learned it, I think you said initially through a family friend,
The original fire.
the original
Right.
fire.
Correct. They received it. Someone in the family received a text message.
And then later they're learning through media updates about someone being deceased at 15 Willowbrook.
Yes.
And you said they're demanding answers.
What? Yes.
And approximately what time is this?
1:30 to 2:30. Ball. I don't remember. 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
And when they're demanding answers, like, what do they want? They want to know what? Like, what's
Objection.
happening?
Sustained speculation.
Why didn't you give them answers to their questions?
Didn't necessarily have much information other than what I'm reading in a CAD entry narrative.
Well, do you have, like, phone contact with Colt's Neck's detectives and officers?
I did not at that
and the
time, no.
prosecutor's office?
I did not speak to Colts Neck detectives at that time, no.
But did you have access to a phone to call them?
Suppose I did, yes.
Okay, and you didn't though, right?
No.
So they're learning, like, there's a big issue at their family's home, a fire, someone's dead, and they're demanding answers, and you do what?
They requested us to check on their other family, which we did for them.
Okay, yes. Mr. Caneiro asked that you testified about that on direct, right?
Yes.
You testified that Mr. Caneiro asked you to call his parents, right, to make sure they were okay.
We ended up sending police officers there. I didn't call them.
Sorry?
We sent the NYPD to their house. I did not call his parents.
Okay, he wanted a wellness check.
Yes.
And this was before they learned anyone was deceased, because you mentioned on direct, they said don't mention the fire.
Fire and people deceased are 2 different things. I don't recall the time frame of when they learned of when they found out there was fatalities in Colts Neck versus when we did these wellness checks. They knew of the fire,
They knew of the fire.
and that's what he asked me not to tell them about.
And you didn't.
I did not. I instructed the NYPD officer not to do so, and to my knowledge, she did not.
Right, that you indicate law enforcement honored that request, right?
To the best that I could make sure, yes.
So is it fair to say then that, of course, like, we're talking about a fire because if their son was dead, they would tell them. They wouldn't, you as law enforcement wouldn't withhold that information just because Paul Caneiro was asking you to, right?
Objection.
What's your objection?
I don't understand the question. I don't understand what's being asked as a compound question.
It is a compound question. That also sustain it too, to the form.
Mr. Caneiro does not have any authority over you, does he?
No.
Okay. So when he asks you for a favor, such as checking in on his family, you don't have to do that, right? That's your choice.
As a police, we're there to help people, and if he wants us to do a welfare check on someone, we have a duty to do so.
Well, no one can just say, hey, I want a welfare check. You have to have like a basis, right?
Sure.
Okay, and here there was a basis,
Yes.
right? But then he also, according to you in your direct testimony, Mr. Caneiro also asks, please don't tell them about the fire, right?
Yes,
And you honor that request.
as I stated.
Okay, because at that point, there was no information that anyone was deceased yet.
The original call came out with one fatality in Colts Neck.
What original call?
To Colts Neck. The call, when the prosecutor's office was alerted to a second fire in Colts Neck, and we looked into it in our computer system that shares information with
CAD?
Colts Neck, the CAD, we learned in the intervention that there was a body in the ground in front of the house.
So then, my next question is, why did they have to learn through the media that someone was dead at their family's house?
Objection, relevance.
I don't understand the relevance. Ms. Maslone, do you want to tell me what the relevance is?
It goes to the circumstances of their investigation, how they're treating Mr. Caneiro and his family, the credibility of not just this detective, but the officer, the way that they tried to make it seem like he was trying to hide information from his family by saying, don't tell them about the fire. I mean, there's a host of reasons why this is relevant.
Sustained. It's not relevant.
If you as law enforcement felt that Mr. Caneiro was trying to manipulate something or withhold critical information, you would not have honored that request, correct?
Can you state that again?
If Mr. Caneiro didn't want you to tell his parents something for a bad reason, you wouldn't have honored the request. You would have said, no, we're going to tell them what we want to tell them.
No. My interpretation of him not asking us to inform his parents of the fire was to not concern his parents that something was happening.
Okay. He explained that to you.
I don't know if that was our exact conversation, but that was my understanding. That was my reason to honor his request, because he didn't want to overly concern his parents at that point in time.
Okay, because they're old. Did he explain that?
However old they are, I don't know how old they
Had a heart condition. Do you recall that?
are. No, I don't.
Eventually, was there, before you brought, at some point when the family is either in the lobby or when you first brought them down to the basement, do you recall a point in time where Katie Caneiro wanted to leave and she was told she couldn't leave?
Yes, perhaps.
Okay. And eventually, at 11 p.m., I think you said on direct, that's when they left, right?
Approximately.
I think, and that's, in your report, you say that's when they could leave, right?
Okay.
Yes?
That's what my report says.
So that would mean that prior to that, they could not leave, right?
The reason why I did not want her to leave originally is because we did not know what was happening to the family at that point in time. They were escorts to the Detective Bureau for their safety.
So you wanted to bring them down into the basement for their safety, correct?
Yes.
And that was at, you said 2 p.m.?
No, that was earlier than that.
1
It
p.m.?
was around
Approximately?
1. Approximately.
Okay, approximately 1. So now we're going to go from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., right? And it's 10 hours later,
Yes.
and now they can leave, now it's safe.
They were allowed to leave.
Okay, you're no longer concerned about their safety, correct?
When they decided to leave, when they were leaving, I knew exactly where they were going, who they were staying with, and I had the police department do a check on those residences. So I continued to care.
Where did they go?
They each went to a different house.
Do you know where?
It's in my report.
They gave you the addresses and you're indicating that you sent.
I at least sent the West Long Ranch Police Department to that to do routine checks on that house. Mrs. Caneiro stayed in Ocean Township, so our officers were well aware of what was happening, and I do not remember where the other daughter stayed.
Okay. So at 11 p.m. they can leave as long as they give you their address and you have an officer check on where they are once in a while. Right?
Yes.
And you're testifying that that did in fact happen.
That what happened?
That officers went there and they circled the house periodically
That was
to
my
make sure
request to
everything was
West
okay?
Long Ranch Police. Whether that they honored that, I cannot tell you.
Did they? Do you? When the family was demanding answers, you still wanted to interview them, correct? Even though they found out what's happening with their family and that something is wrong, you wanted them to stay and be interviewed, correct?
Yes.
And like you said, their interviews didn't take place till 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yes,
Okay,
approximately.
so hours after they got there, and after they find out what's happening with their family.
Yes.
So they're being interviewed after knowing that there's a fire and at least one or more family members are deceased.
Objection. Again, it's the relatives.
She wants to ask the question. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lieutenant, answer the question.
Yes, we did still want to take statements from them.
Did you ever leverage information as a basis for saying, like, if you just give us an interview, then we'll let you know what's going on with the family?
Objection.
Please come up here, please. So, the question that was asked to this witness was something to the effect of, again, I'm summarizing, whether this detective, now lieutenant, leveraged the fact of getting a statement against or from the Caneiro family members, the daughters and maybe the mother, I don't know, to get statements from them so that, and then they would be able to leave at some point, something to that effect. But leveraging information, so basically making an allegation against this detective that he did something improper. I then brought counsel to sidebar, and I asked about this and whether that there was anything that was provided, or whether there was a good faith basis to ask this question. And I was told by Ms. Mastalone that there may be information, and yes, she does have a good faith basis from family members. Prosecutors indicated at that point in time that they were not in possession of any information as it relates to this at all. They've attempted to speak to the Caneiros in the past. I'm talking about Susan and the kids, and they had been unable to do so for a period of time. I summarize this only because now I'm going to have an oral argument on the issue of the fact that no discovery was turned over about an allegation against this officer so that the state would have the opportunity to respond to it. I will start with the defense and ask your position, because you cited a case, and I want to give you the opportunity to lay that out on the record. I just want to do it outside the presence of the jury so we don't have anybody hearing anything, as to exactly your position as to why you do not feel that you had to turn this over at this point. I'm not saying never, but at this point. So go ahead.
Sure, Judge. The case that I'm relying on is State versus Tier, which is, I don't have it in front of me. If the court wants to give me about 2 minutes, I can pull it up. But TIER, and I believe it's like a 2016-ish case. And in that case, it was very similar. In that case, the defense had indicated that it had certain witnesses that it intended to call. The state wanted a proffer or a report. The defense indicated there is no proffer. There is no report. Nothing was memorialized, and I don't have to give you a proffer because I am entitled, meaning the defense, to a confidential Sixth Amendment investigation, and I'm entitled to have a defense that I don't have to hand over to the state. And in that case, I believe the trial court initially said, well, you have to turn over a proffer at least, and it went up on appeal. And I don't recall off the top of my head if it's an appellate division or Supreme Court, might be Supreme Court, that said the trial court erred and the defense attorney did not have to provide a report, nor did the defense attorney have to provide a proffer. But upon request from the court, the defense attorney could have to tell the state whether or not their witnesses were fact witnesses or character witnesses, and that's the extent of which the court can control what information the defense turns over to the state. Now, I will also add that at this point in time, obviously no witnesses have been called yet. The state indicated that these witnesses were on their witness list. It was anticipated that they were going to call them, and I understand that in recent time they haven't had contact with them. But there are multiple reports where they have had contact with them. These aren't witnesses they've never spoken to before. They spoke to them on the 20th. In fact, this detective...
November 20th, 2018.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not recent. It's when the date of the incident occurred, which is the date you're alleging that maybe something was leveraged to get them to give that particular statement, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. They spoke to them the day of. So they were there. Like, this detective was there. I'm not asking an officer who wasn't there whether this happened.
You're about to accuse a lieutenant of whether he leveraged information, what you did basically by asking that question. You're saying that you have a good faith basis to ask the question, which I respect. You say you do. Again, I respect that also. But I need to read the case that says that you have the ability to do that, and that the state can be completely blinded by the fact that you even have any of this information. The state had no chance to respond to this information, to even know what was going on. It doesn't matter to me right now of whether Susan's going to be called or the kids are going to be called. The allegation right now deals with this witness and you having information that's in your possession. How long have you had it in your possession, just so that the record is clear?
Judge, I don't...
How long? I'm asking you. The court's asking you a question. How long have you had this in your possession, just so that I know?
From approximately maybe 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Let me hear from the state.
I mean, to be honest with you, Ms. Mastalone knows. You know, she's actually made attempts to serve as like an intermediary between the state and Ms. Caneiro. We actually had an appointment to meet with Ms. Caneiro on September 5th, 2018. That was the day, it was the day that we argued, they argued that Mr. Caneiro should be released as a result of the appeal to the Supreme Court.
You're talking about 2025, not 2018.
Sorry.
That date is September 12th, 2025.
Ms. Wallace had actually spoken to Ms. Caneiro. She was very nice, my understanding of the conversation. She agreed to meet with us. Then we had to be here in court. She came for the first time in 8 years to court and watched the arguments to have her husband released, and we had to cancel that appointment. Other attempts recently to try to meet with her and her daughters. We've had to go serve, the detectives have had to go to her home to serve her because it's the only way we could make sure that they potentially, be aware of when, that they were under subpoena. They told us through Ms. Mastalone, well, actually, Ms. Caneiro told Ms. Wallace that, she didn't want to meet, but she would get up on the stand and tell the truth. I mean, I got to be honest. I'd love the defense to call Ms. Caneiro and the two daughters in their case, but obviously I don't control that fact. I'd love to cross-examine them about being leveraged. There were attorneys there that day on Mr. Caneiro's behalf at the Ocean Township Police Department, two, in fact, one of which gave a statement in his case, which was sort of intimated when Lieutenant Brady was asked questions about Cap and Harrington. There's also another statement, and we haven't chose to use that witness because I would imagine they're going to argue it's attorney-client privilege, but that's neither here nor there. I haven't really reviewed this case. I see it was a matter, I believe Ms. Mastalone worked for the law firm that handled it at the time, and I believe, I could be wrong. So obviously we're not necessarily aware off the top of our heads about this case law. My understanding is that if they were to document something based upon a conversation with Mrs. Caneiro and or the daughters, that, the law, the discovery rules, I would think, courtesy would dictate that would be provided to the state. I mean, that's just my baseline 22 years of practicing law understanding. But again, I'd have to look further. I mean, I would welcome the opportunity to cross-examine all three of them about this information, but
I'm going to take a break. I hear you. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to read this case. I'll take a look at it. I am not familiar with it, so I'm going to go read it, and then I'm going to come back and render a decision about my findings as to this discovery issue. Can you just tell the jurors more that it's going to be a little bit more time? It's 228 NJ 555. It is a 2017 case. I agree with Ms. Mastalone that what she says is what it says in this case. I was not familiar with this case. I was surprised by it in all my years of doing this. This is not my understanding, but I follow the law as the Supreme Court says it. So with that being said, I'm going to allow the defense to ask the question if they didn't memorialize the information. Seems like they don't need to.
Can I ask one question just to
Sure.
clarify? I guess the question becomes, I wanted to make sure it was very clear that this was not memorialized in a report or in some sort of summary regarding this interaction with any of these witnesses.
Judge, I can represent that this is part of the reason that was expressed to me why the family wishes not to speak to the state, because they felt mistreated in a variety of different ways, not by these particular prosecutors, but just overall. And the state is obviously prosecuting Mr. Caneiro. So that's how that's
Okay.
how I learned this information. And I don't know what else to say.
All right. So there's nothing written or there's no statement and there's no oral statement memorialized. That's what Ms. Mastalone is saying. She's saying
This was a phone conversation.
I mean, my only question too
No,
is,
just to be clear, I did not memorialize that conversation.
that's what I assumed you meant. But go ahead.
the only thing I would note, obviously I had a chance to read the case pretty briefly, but I do note that one of the prior cases addressed in tier would be discusses the idea of, the theory behind this being is that they don't have to reveal information early in time that may be, extremely helpful to a criminal
I
defendant.
get it. This is not dealing with
inculpatory.
and this is not, and these instances were pre-trial. It's not in the middle of trial, even though it's kind of mentioned about trial in here. But based upon the way I read the opinion, that the Supreme Court has made it clear that if it's not memorialized, they basically don't have to prove anything, and they don't have to do a single thing. It's on the state to do everything, and it's not the defense's job to give up their defense and or how they want to handle moving forward.
It's just the system we work in, Your Honor.
Judge, just so the record is clear, the state knows this too, that the 20th wasn't the only day that they spoke to Susan Caneiro, for example. There were other days also, just
With
for the-
his attorney at the time, Paul Caneiro's attorney, representing the entire family. And there were times where our detectives met them at the house in order to get a key so they didn't have to destroy a safe or things like that. So yes, at that time, that is somewhat true.
So it wasn't for more reasons statement-wise, it was for other reasons?
That is my recollection based upon everything off the top of my head without looking at everything. Yes, there's no second statement from any of those individuals.
There is in December. It was the next month. It's memorialized, and I can't recall off the top. It might even be Detective Brady's report or Petrozello's, but it was to ask follow-up questions or something like that.
Okay. If it's documented, it's so documented. Can we get our lieutenant back in?
The only question I was just trying to remember off the top of my head without having it in front of me was are they on the defense witness list?
I don't know.
Our original trial memo said that we reserve the right to call any named person in the state's discovery.
Okay.
And I just imagine any of the other defense witnesses that are on the list, there's no other reports for any of those people.
Correct. I have nothing.
This is just strategy. Get it.
Okay. It's the world. We can have our lieutenant back in, please. Once the lieutenant is comfortable and seated, we can bring the jurors back in. I indicated to you I would try to do that at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, but sometimes that just can't happen. Unfortunately, this was one of those times I had to address it right now. So I apologize for the delay in leaving you in there. I wish there was windows in there, but there's not. We got some nice pictures up there. If you're a little bit about the county, if you want to take a look. But otherwise, I apologize to you for the delay in keeping you in there. But we are now ready to go. The issue has been dealt with, and now we'll proceed. So Ms. Mastalone is going to re-ask the question that she was asking before. Go ahead.
Sir, the question was simply this. At the time that, so you're at the police station, Ocean Township Police Department with the Caneiro family, correct?
I was still in the afternoon?
On November
Yes.
20th of 2019, right?
Yes.
From approximately 1 o'clock up to 11 o'clock p.m., correct?
Yes.
Or maybe it was noon, it was actually noon, so we're talking like 12 hours or so. And during that time, we know that the family eventually learned through the media that their family members from 15 Willowbrook at least some of them were deceased, correct?
I believe that we knew that there was fatalities, and it was at the house. But I don't recall what time we received positive identifications of anyone.
Okay. And at some point, despite them having learned something was happening with their family, you still wanted to take statements from them at the police department, correct?
Yes.
And at any point, are you aware, not saying you personally, are you aware of any officers at that time who were leveraging information about what was going on with the family as a mechanism to get statements from them?
I am not.
You're not aware.
I am not aware.
And Judge, I don't have anything further. Thank you.
I have nothing to.
Sir, you can step down. Thank you.